Most Americans will never come here.
Beyond this town, there are no highways, no cities, no neighborhoods, no next stop. Only the Arctic. At first glance, it doesn't look like much. A few roads, a few buildings, a few lights. Here, winter isn't a season. It's a way of life. This is Utqiagvik, the northernmost town in America, the last town before the Arctic. Every morning begins with the same question: will the engine start? Before work, before school, before anything else, the town must wake up. When most of America is still asleep, lights begin appearing across the frozen edge of the continent. Life continues here. School still begins. Work still begins. The Arctic does not cancel ordinary days. Everything needed to survive must arrive here somehow. Food, medicine, supplies. Nothing is taken for granted. Most towns depend on roads. Some depend on railways. This town depends on the sky. Almost everything arrives this way: food, mail, medicine, connection. In much of America, supplies travel hundreds of miles. Here, they travel thousands. Every box tells a story about distance. Nothing stays at the airport for long. Sooner or later, everything must find its way into town. Almost every town in America is built on the ground. This one cannot be. Beneath this town lies permanently frozen earth, a foundation that shapes every building, every road, and every decision. In most places, warmth is comfort. Here, warmth is survival. Every warm room depends on systems most people never notice: fuel, electricity, maintenance, preparation. The farther north you go, the more important energy becomes. Without it, nothing else works. A town like this does not run by itself. Every day, someone must keep it alive. Most people never think about the systems around them. That luxury does not exist here. In many places, bad weather interrupts work. Here, bad weather is simply part of the job.
Roads do not stay open by themselves. The Arctic closes them every day.
No matter how much snow is removed, more snow arrives. No matter how much ground is cleared, the wind keeps working. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about Utqiagvik is how ordinary life remains. People still work. The town has an edge. Beyond that edge begins something much older. The town has an edge. Beyond that edge begins something much older. For most Americans, the ocean means water. Here, for much of the year, the ocean becomes land. For most Americans, the ocean means water. Here, for much of the year, the ocean becomes land. The ice looks permanent. It is not. It moves, it shifts, it changes every day. From the outside, Utqiagvik can seem impossibly remote, but nobody who lives here thinks of it that way. To them, this is simply home. Many families have lived here for generations, long before modern roads, long before modern aircraft, long before Alaska became a state. People survive here because they understand this place. They know the weather. They know the ice. They know the land. In much of America, the afternoon still feels like day. Here, daylight begins fading almost as soon as it arrives. When daylight is limited, people learn to value every hour of it. When daylight is limited, people learn to value every hour of it. For weeks every year, the darkness stays longer. The Arctic does not rush. It takes its time. As the Arctic grows darker, the town grows brighter. As the Arctic grows darker, the town grows brighter. From above, Utqiagvik begins to look less like a town and more like a collection of lights holding back the darkness. Beyond the last streetlight, another world begins. The Arctic has a sound, not a loud one, a sound made from wood. Standing here, it becomes easier to understand something important. The town is small, because every light in that town represents something powerful. Someone chose to stay, because every light in that town represents something powerful. Someone chose to stay. People often ask why anyone would choose to live here. The people who live here usually ask a different question. Why would they leave? People stay where memories live, where family lives, where identity lives. Utqiagvik is not just a place people survive. It is a place people belong. Long before roads, long before aircraft, long before modern America, there was the coast. The Arctic changes every season. Yet generation after generation has learned to read it. Utqiagvik exists between two worlds. One world built by people, one world that existed long before them. Utqiagvik exists between two worlds. One world built by people, one world that existed long before them. Places survive because people remember them. Generation after generation, memory becomes part of the landscape. In a place this remote, people depend on more than infrastructure. They depend on one another. Every community leaves something behind. A routine, a tradition, a way of seeing the world. The farther away you move, the smaller the town becomes. The more important it feels.
Around it lies one of the largest and coldest environments on Earth.
The farther away you move, the smaller the town becomes. The more important it feels. And yet, through storms, through darkness, through generations, the town is still here. And yet, through storms, through darkness, through generations, the town is still here. And yet, through storms, through darkness, through generations, the town is still here. America is filled with places like this. Not famous, not crowded, not often noticed. This is not the America most people imagine. But it is America. The story of this town is not a story about hardship. It is a story about endurance. For generations, people did not conquer this environment. They adapted to it. The Arctic does not reward arrogance. It rewards respect. Every nation has edges, places where the familiar begins to disappear, places where nature becomes larger than everything people build. At the edge of the continent, many of the things people think matter become smaller. Community becomes larger. Home becomes larger. At the edge of the continent, many of the things people think matter become smaller. Community becomes larger. Home becomes larger. From far enough away, every city becomes a light. Every road becomes a line. Every person becomes invisible. At the northern edge of America, a community continues its ordinary life, even when the rest of the continent feels impossibly far away. And that may be the most remarkable thing about Utqiagvik. Not that it exists at the edge of the Arctic, but that it continues. And that may be the most remarkable thing about Utqiagvik. Not that it exists at the edge of the Arctic, but that it continues. These are some of the northernmost lights in America. Small, distant, persistent.
And beyond them lies the Arctic. Vast, cold, indifferent.
And beyond them lies the Arctic. Vast, cold, indifferent. This is Utqiagvik, the northernmost town in America. A place where winter becomes a way of life.